Our Media Madness segment tonight, liberals love to condemn people. If you so much as misgender someone, liberals will do everything they can to get you fired. Which is why it's weird that liberals have been so hesitant to condemn anti-Semitism within their own ranks. Surely if using the wrong pronoun is a fireable offense, then calling for the extermination of an entire group of people certainly should be, and certainly is, absolutely abhorrent. With me now to break this down, former IDF soldier Mika Danzig. Mika, good to see you.
Good to see you, Liz. Thanks for having me.
All right, Mika, this is kind of an ongoing train of stories that you and I have been talking about over the past couple months. And the thesis of this is that anti-Semitism has begun to creep and become even mainstream within the Democratic Party. This is a problem for obvious reasons. Our viewers don't need to be told why this is an obvious problem.
Right.
Yet it continues to shock me that so-called mainstream figures in the left don't come out and condemn this and eradicate this from their party.
Yeah, there's a remarkable cognitive dissonance that's happening on the left. Everybody is so quick to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and condemn anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic comments when they come from the far right. Everyone's really quick and brave to say we're against Nazis. So when Charlottesville happens, there's immediately everyone's condemning the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville, and they're even holding rallies in their local communities to talk about it. But then when you hear the same exact anti-Semitic rhetoric that comes from the far right, coming from the left and the far left, or from people that are deemed to be by the left in this country, protected classes like an imam in Riverside or an imam at UC Davis, like you and I talked about a few weeks ago on this show, then suddenly you can't hear anybody making any condemnations.
Right, and we have two examples of this, two new ones just this week. It's a shame we have this many just in the space of 6-7 days here. But this first one, and I want to show a video of this. This is a college professor. Take a look.
And the institutional backbone of the Islamophobic production in our country has the Israel advocates' footprints all over it. These are the individuals behind Islamophobia. There are a large number of Zionists who are engaged with Nazi Germany. Zionism, rather than being defeating anti-Semitism, is actually accepted anti-Semitism as the norm.
Mika, there are some people that are calling this college professor the most dangerous professor in America, and this is quite something. So that's just a short clip of what he said, blaming Islamophobia purely on Jews. He has also said, he's also purported, I should say, conspiracies about Jewish people controlling America, and he's called for a violent uprising within America to squelch Jewish people.
Yeah, this is a professor at Berkeley. He's been at Berkeley for almost 2 decades now. He founded the Students for Justice in Palestine, which now have subsidiaries essentially on almost 200 campuses throughout America. They themselves have engaged in anti-Semitic acts all over America. They've increased the level of anti-Semitism on campuses. This is a man who employs the exact same rhetoric as David Duke does, as the far right does when it comes to Jews. Both of them refer to Congress as being, quote, Zionist occupied territory, and refer to Jews controlling American government and foreign policy. They employ the same anti-Semitic rhetoric, yet one is a, quote, respected professor at Berkeley, and the others are deemed untouchable by normal society.
Right, it's absolutely shocking. If this guy were a neo-Nazi, he'd be fired so fast you wouldn't even remember his name. But because he's pro-Palestinian, because he started, like you said, these groups all over campus, and we talk about these specific groups because every couple weeks they're up to some nonsense, some anti-Semitic nonsense on campus. Because of that, nobody says a word. Shame on liberals for this, because this is absolutely abhorrent. All right, Mika, the second example here is Valerie Plame, the former CIA agent. She was burned, actually. Burned meaning her identity was revealed as a CIA agent. Everyone remembers who she is. She tweeted the other day an article that essentially blamed all of America's wars on Jewish people.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And by the way, she took this article, that she retweeted from a neo-Nazi website, one that talks about David Duke in a positive way. And yet she then claimed that she didn't, after there was an uproar about it, she claimed that she didn't realize that it was an anti-Semitic article. the article actually in its title talks about American Jews being responsible for America's wars. It sounds like something Mel Gibson says when he's drunk, and yet she didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic.
Well, her comment, too, was anti-Semitic. When she was on her train of tweets after that original one, when she was on her train of tweets attempting to defend herself, she said, well, in my defense, many neocon hawks are Jewish. I mean, she essentially did not misunderstand this article. She just revealed her true colors.
Yeah, it's insidious. And she was a hero of the left, and she also was a member of the Plowshares board, which she just resigned from because there was so much attention called to her obviously blatant and naked anti-Semitism. And by the way, this is not the first time she's promoted anti-Semitic articles by the same author on her Twitter feed. So she knows exactly what she's doing. But this time, there were some people who called her out on it. And she is part of the movement, the group that, by the way, spread money around Washington like crazy to promote the Iran deal and promote the Iran nuclear deal.
Right.
So
right.
It's
and
very
when you
insidious.
talk about people calling her out for it, let's just be very clear here. These were conservatives and people who are not anti-Semites who condemned her. This was not the mainstream media. This was not people from her own party. This was not liberals. They were shockingly silent on this.
Yeah,
Mika,
it's
thanks
amazing.
for being here on the show today. I appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right.